Macca's Guides.
Hey guys, Macca here, playing Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, showing you all 45 intel locations. There are 3 intel locations per mission, so I'll be showing you all 45 in this video. There are very minor spoilers, although I've tried to minimize them. Unfortunately, some have to be in there just because the intels are right next to story elements, so keep that in mind. Now, in the first level, Induction, during the part where the enemies come through on the zip lines, right after that, you'll want to walk up the stairs. To the right-hand side on the second story, you'll find that. Now you'll come into this Chinatown area, and once you do, that's the store name right there. You'll want to go into the second story. You can do so by either double jumping into the window or using the staircase inside the building. Follow along the building when you come into this sports bar and go up to the third story, and on the third story on the ground you should be able to find your second Intel laptop. Moving on from this one, the numbers on screen might appear out of order, but just the ones that I've added in and edited in via text, those will be the right numbers every time, obviously. Later on in the mission, you'll come to this part where you get a grenade launcher, and you'll have to clear out these enemies. There'll be this small waterfall. You'll have to go through the waterfall underneath it, and there'll be this hidden room in which you can find your third Intel laptop. Now the next mission, Atlas. During this part of the mission, you'll come into this room with the television screen. From that room, turn to your left-hand side, come into the bedroom. This is the main bedroom, and then go into the closet. Nope, this is the bathroom of that main bedroom, and you'll find a laptop right there. Now a little bit later on in the mission, you'll come to this area where you'll be dropped off the Jeep that Kevin Spacey was in. And if you turn around kind of from where you would be aiming as soon as you're let go, there'll be this guard room or this surveillance room, and you can find a laptop directly on here. Now you'll be taken through a short tutorial showing you how to use the guns and the grenades, and right after that you'll come down these stairs and you'll be asked to go into the elevator directly in front of me. Before you go into that elevator, make sure you go to the right hand side into the engineering room where you can find your 6th Intel item. Now on the mission Traffic, you'll come through the ceiling or the roof and you'll drop down, and before you progress to the objective directly in front of me, make sure you come into this room to the left, and you should be able to find a laptop in the corner desk to the left of the objective pretty early on in the mission. A little bit later on in the mission, you'll come to this courtyard, and once you do, you'll want to go up to the right hand side and into this room here with the vending machines, and you should be able to find some intel right there on the ground next to the vending machines. Now later on, you'll take out this car with a guy in the back of it, and you'll be asked to go to that objective in front of me and use your mag grip in order to climb up the wall. But before you climb, make sure you look directly behind that objective, and you should be able to find this 9th Intel item. This one's tricky, don't miss it. And if you do go over the wall, make sure you load the last checkpoint. Now we're on the mission Fission. You'll come down an elevator shaft and come around this corner. And then you'll come around this corner, and you'll want to shoot your way through the glass in order to get yourself into this room right after turning the corner. And you should find this laptop on the ground in this sealed off room. So yeah, you will have to shoot through the glass in order to be able to get to it. So you want to keep that in mind. That should be number 10. Later on in Fission, this is the room where you will deploy a drone and try to kill all the enemies. After you've killed all the enemies or your drone goes off, walk into the room and turn to the right, go underneath the second story with the stairs here, and on the main floor you should be able to find this intel item. This is near the end of the Fission mission. You'll come through this huge blast door, and you'll notice that there is an opening to go outside via this long hallway. But before you do that, make sure you turn up on the right hand side, stay up on this second story, and you should be able to find that right there. Now this is on the mission Aftermath. Shortly after coming into this basement area, you'll have to walk forward. There will be an enemy directly in front of you, which I've taken out. Make sure you turn to your left-hand side as soon as you come out of this door, and you should be able to find this laptop pretty easily. I mean, it glows bright blue in the dark level, so that one shouldn't be too hard. Now later on in the mission, you'll rejoin your teammate outside here, and there will be 2 enemies walking across the street in front of you. You can ignore them. I've taken them out just to show you guys what the point of the objective is. And from where you come outside, if you just go into this first hut and follow along to the back area, you should be able to find the intel. Next up, you'll come up some stairs into this big room. Your objective will be to breach a door after you kill off all the enemies. If you turn to the left and shoot your way through this door, and shoot your way through the glass rather, and then keep hugging the left wall, you should be able to find your 15th intel item. Next up on the mission Manhunt, you'll come to this area. It's a mandatory part of the area, and you'll have to suit up. Before you do that, or even after you do that, that's fine. Come out onto the balcony, and once you're on the balcony, look to the right-hand side, and you should be able to find this Intel laptop on the balcony right there. Next up, we're still on Manhunt. You'll come to this kind of narrow alleyway, and there will be this store with a blue umbrella on it. The store will be called Pure. If you go to the left-hand side, the third building will be a kind of orangey brown. If you go around back behind it, you should be able to find this staircase leading up to the second story, or you can double jump if you can. You'll come into the room. On the bed there will be ammo, and behind the bed you should be able to find a laptop. Number 18, still on Manhunt. This is me coming through the restaurant, and then there's a truck directly in front of me. That's where the sniper will be, so that's your reference point. Just across the street from there, you should be able to walk into this store and find a laptop directly on the counter behind the desk. Moving on to the mission Utopia, right at the beginning of the level, make sure you turn around and look behind you. This one can be missed if you don't turn directly behind yourself at the beginning of the level. And that should be number 19 if you're following along. Number 20 on Utopia, you'll come to this alleyway, and there should be some scaffolding on the left-hand side. It's wooden scaffolding. If you run through about halfway through and you turn to the left-hand side on the ground floor, you should come into this computer / printing / some kind of technology, internet cafe maybe, and you should be able to find a laptop on the desk there. Now, much later on in the mission, after the boat sequence, you'll come up and grapple up onto this rooftop, kill a whole bunch of enemies. And before we grapple up, what we're going to need to do is go to the end of this area. You'll notice there's a pool to my left-hand side. Continue past that, shoot through this window, and then you'll be able to pick up the laptop on the floor directly in front of you to progress through. Now, from there, we're on the mission Sentinel. You'll come to this part of the level where you blast through this roof. As you drop through the roof, you should notice this one literally directly in front of you as soon as you come down. This one's hard to miss, but you will need to be quick to pick it up, or else you will fail your mission and you might not be able to pick it up. So keep that in mind. Now moving on to number 23. This one will unlock your achievement or trophy for completing half of them if you've been following along. You'll grapple up onto this balcony where your teammate and an enemy will fight. If you look just past that fight, you should be able to find this laptop on the bookshelves at the end of the room. And as you see on my screen, I am unlocking the achievement right there for completing 50% of all intel. Now, this is kind of later on in the mission after you hold onto the car. Your teammate's going to tell you to follow him up onto the scaffolding. Before you do that, you'll see that there's a car being worked on at the back of the shop. Just before it, you're going to want to crouch under the scaffolding and look under to find the intel. Moving on to the level Crash, this is basically near the very beginning of the level. I've cleared out all the enemies, so you guys don't have to watch me get shot too much. If you move forward to the left of the plane and go to the second crates on the snow, you should be able to find this intel. Now later on, you'll make your way through some caves. You'll notice there's a bright light source at the end of the cave. If you look off to the right, you'll see an enemy, and that enemy is standing right next to an intel. Now you will have to probably double jump and dash to make it all the way over, so make sure you do that by double clicking the jump button and then clicking in the sprint button while in the air to dash forward, and you should be able to pick that one up. Near the end of Crash, your teammates will start running away from you in the distance, and they'll ask you to pick up a stinger. If you just wait and don't pick that up quite yet, if you look right next to the ship, the crashed wreckage ship, you should be able to find this laptop intel item right before you pick up that stinger. Now we're on Biolab. This is literally the first 2 seconds of Biolab. You'll run forward, just follow your teammate into this hut. You should be able to see the brightly glowing laptop on the ground once you enter it. So you'll want to pick up this intel, obviously, and then moving forward in Biolab, you'll come to this hallway. You'll see that there's room 210, the main compound synthetics area. and you'll come to this kind of opening area. If you turn to your right hand side, follow along the hallway, and hug the wall once you enter, you should be able to find this intel item in the room as soon as you enter. Near the end of Biolab, you'll come through this kind of white hallway. You can't miss this part, it's very mandatory for you to come, and then you'll come out to this outside area, and then you'll come back in, and there'll be this red room. If you look inside the room, you should be able to find the laptop. Now, the only way to access it is by shooting out the window and then crawling in order to pick it up, as you saw on screen. So I'm taking my time here a little bit, but I did pick it up. Now we're on the level Collapse. This whole level takes place on this straight bridge, and there's only ever one objective, which is directly in front of you. So I'll be referencing that objective for you guys very often. So if we just run forward and we look forward about 380 meters away. I don't know if Americans will have a different unit, but I don't think so. You'll be able to find this intel item in this car right here. Now we're about 200 meters, I want to say. I can't quite see the screen perfectly, and you'll see that there is a notice on the right hand side of this highway saying certain times and areas, I think, the amount of traffic in the area. So you'll want to hop up onto this police car, hop up onto this truck as you see me trying to do, and you're going to need to hop onto the back side of that sign in order to find this laptop on Collapse, about 200 meters from what I remember from the objective. Obviously, interact with it to secure the intel. Now we're about 100 to 50 meters to the objective. You can see that helicopter off in the distance. So now that we're nearing our objective, stick to the left hand side on the sidewalk on the suspension bridge, and you will find an intel on the back of this transport truck. It's a very small transport truck, but I guess it is that, and you'll obviously want to pick that up. Now we're on Armada. We're coming out onto the ship's deck, and there's a whole bunch of enemies. You're probably going to want to take them out. I took out about half of them. If you run to the back end of the ship here, this will be part of an objective, but I decided to do it right away. You'll notice that there is this broken part of the ship, so you'll have to double jump and dash into it, and once you do, you'll find a laptop right there. Now keep in mind, you do have to come through this area either way for your objectives, so you can always leave it for the end, or you can just do it right at the beginning. Later on in the mission, you'll come to this deck where you can unlock an achievement for doing a whole bunch of things, but if you continue forward through this newly opened door, your teammate will be waiting here for you. And now that he's waiting for me, you can open up, run forward, follow him up the stairs, and once you're at the top of the stairs, you're just going to want to follow the walkway, and you should be able to find the laptop chilling after you take a right hand turn, a left hand turn, and then a right hand turn right here at the end of the hallway. Now moving on to intel item number 36 on the mission Armada, we're going to come up to the server room where we will be prompted to use our night vision, so that's what I've done. Clear out all the enemies and continue forward with your teammates onto the upper level where there will be some computers that you're going to need to interact with. Now once you're in this room, you should be able to spot the laptop on the main desk in the room. You're just going to have to make sure to look there, or else that's the only way you're really going to miss it. So this one's pretty easy. You will come to this area and just pick it up. Now we're on the level Throttle. This is more or less the very beginning of the level. You'll see that there is the Iraqi Financial District sign in front of you. And as that happens, make sure you turn to your right hand side on the kind of first story. And you should be able to find your laptop directly next to this male model that's sitting there very seductively on the billboard. So you'll want to pick that up. It's on the bench. Now moving forward, we'll come to the objective where we have to destroy these 3 turrets. So what we're going to want to do is take out some enemies, continue forward, go to the right hand side, and then grapple up here, and then grapple up onto there. Watch out, the game will tell you you're leaving the mission area even though you're not, so you'll have to be a little bit careful. But once you're up here, I'll show you kind of where we came from. Once you're up here, you should be able to find the laptop on one of the desks here in this kind of park area on the upper deck of that area. So now that we've done that, you'll probably want to take care of the 3 turrets, but if you don't, that's fine too. I'm going to use my grapple to hop onto the monorail area, and then I'm running away from the 3 turrets. I'm going to grapple up onto the 3rd story here, and then once I'm up here, I'm going to go to this walkway that connects the 2 areas. So that's all the way where I came from. That's where the turrets were, and you should be able to find this intel on the walkway. If you do it early like me, it'll tell you you're leaving the mission area. Now we're on the 2nd last level. This one's called Captured, and you'll come to this area where your teammate opens a door for you, and then there's 2 workers that surrender. If you turn to your right hand side into the room, you should be able to find the laptop. This is a section where you are with only 1 teammate and not the rest of your squad. You'll move forward into this mandatory cutscene where you break open into a door and there's a worker behind the door. So as soon as you trigger this, you'll notice that a small cutscene or fight happens. If you turn to the left hand side while looking at that, you should be able to spot this intel very easily on the desk. The last one in Captured, you'll come to this part where an AST suit kind of crumples in front of you. If you just turn around 180 degrees directly once you gain control of your character, you should be able to easily spot this as long as you turn around from that point. On the last level of the game, Terminus, you will come up these stairs from the water and you'll come up into the regular part of the level. Now, we're going to walk through these hallways. I'm going to take out the enemies as we walk through. But after you take a few corners, just continue forward. Instead of turning left to continue with your objective, continue forward. And in this room, you should be able to spot number 43 on the desk. Now, from this location, I'm going to continue it. From this location, we're going to turn around, follow our objective. So if we follow our objective through this hallway, and we continue forward through this hallway, we'll come to this kind of circular area with this big missile. Hug the left hand side wall and use the stairs in order to go down 1 floor, and then continue to hug the left wall into this area with bright white lights, and then you're going to want to probably continue to hug the left wall until you do end up in an office. So you can see that there's a small office, an opening here. And once we're inside this office, we should be able to spot number 44 of all our intels, and we are coming upon our very last intel, where your teammate kicks down the door. You're going to take a left-hand side turn, and instead of going through the hallway in front of you with the 5 marked on it, you're going to want to go into the office on the left and find the intel on the desk. Now, thank you for watching the entire video. If you've made it through, I am very pleased to hear that. You can like the video if you found it useful, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You can also subscribe for more content similar to this in the future. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I do really appreciate it, and all your support helps me fuel my channel in the future. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I see you in my next video. Peace.